Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is about growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here. We don't sugarcoat. And not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and sometimes that includes cussing. It's just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you are new here, please know at this time I post weekly content in 3 parts. Part 1 focuses on what needs to be revealed. Part 2 focuses on what needs to be understood, typically a deeper dive on part 1. And part 3 focuses on what needs to be done. What action do we need to take to embody the changes that we're trying to make? So depending on when you find this video, this one happens to be part 3 of this series. So you'll actually find all available links to the whole series in the description box below, and I will go back through the entire series and link this 3rd part in. So shouldn't be any issues with that by the time you find this video. So let me go ahead and kick this off. I am calling this message How to Stop Disconnecting from Your Own Reality. And I'm going to be really honest. This is part 3 of the imposter syndrome series that I'm doing this week. And this is a big message. So I am going to do this video a little differently. I think in the first video, I described the system as an octopus. I didn't know it at the time, but I lied. This a whole fucking kraken. And the way this message is set up and structured, I am here on some Captain Jack Sparrow shit. I'm going to take it out. So because it is so big, I'm not going to lie, babies, I am going to mostly read this, because if I do this message the way I normally would, this video would be like 2 hours long. And I did ask if I could shorten this message. I was told no. I asked if I could do it in 2 parts to make it more manageable, and I was told no. So here we are. We got what we got, and I'm just gonna handle it the best I can. I'm not gonna ignore the camera, but you can watch the video if you want to, but it's just not gonna be the same format. This really does need to be tackled in a certain way, and I'm getting the guidance to tell you. Again, if you watched my last series on fully embodying your sexuality, the 3rd video, the guidance was to treat that like a subliminal and really just listen to it and just take in the information and trust your subconscious mind will know what to do with it and how to organize it and work it through your system. This is the same thing, because you couldn't take notes on this if you wanted to. I did, and it's fucking beastly. So for the sake of time, let me dive right into this. So the problem is not that you lack ability. The problem is that your mind keeps interrupting your relationship with your own ability. You already think at a high level, create at a high level, adapt quickly, solve problems, communicate effectively, generate insight naturally, produce real results, learn quickly, notice patterns easily, handle complexity well, and move between different kinds of thinking fluidly. But every time your ability becomes visible, real, recognized, stable, consistent, or emotionally important, something happens internally. You begin watching yourself, questioning yourself, emotionally pulling back, analyzing your legitimacy, reducing your confidence, disconnecting from the moment, preparing for failure, and trying to regain control. The issue is not capability. It's you repeatedly step outside yourself while things are working. That interruption is the real mechanism underneath imposter syndrome. What is actually happening? You have developed a psychological system built around self-monitoring, emotional self-protection, over-analysis, fear of exposure, fear of being defined, fear of permanence, fear of expectation, distrust of visibility, conditional self-worth, unrealistic standards, identity instability during growth, emotional over-control, difficulty allowing success to fully register, and attachment to older versions of yourself. This system likely developed in environments where approval depended on performance, mistakes felt unsafe, being good meant being correct, competence felt connected to worth, and emotional safety depended on managing how you appeared. So now your mind constantly asks, am I doing this right? Am I actually capable? Have I earned this? Am I allowed to be seen this way? What if people expect more from me now? What if I can't maintain this? What if this version of me isn't real? What if I get exposed? What if I lose control? What if success changes my identity too much? Because of this, success itself starts feeling psychologically threatening. Not failure, success. Say it again. So it's not failure that feels psychologically threatening. It is success itself. Your nervous system treats expansion like danger. This is one of the deepest patterns underneath everything. It usually goes like this. You get inspired or clear. You act naturally. You enter flow. You create, perform, or communicate well. Momentum, recognition, or visibility appears. Your self-awareness suddenly increases. You begin observing yourself. Doubt appears. Emotional tension increases. Momentum breaks, and you mentally or emotionally pull back. As a result, your system has learned to interpret success, visibility, recognition, consistency, identity growth, being seen, and becoming established as potential danger. Part of you reacts as if this is becoming too real. People are going to expect things from me. What if I can't sustain this? What if I get trapped in this identity? What if people fully see me? What if I actually become this person? The problem is not I can't succeed. The problem is your system struggles to stay emotionally present once success becomes real. Your mind is trying to slow down identity change. A very deep part of this pattern is about psychological pacing. Part of you believes if I accept my growth too quickly, something bad will happen. So your mind slows the process down. That is why accomplishments do not fully land. Recognition feels disconnected. Confidence disappears once noticed. Growth feels emotionally delayed. Success feels unreal, and your identity never fully catches up. Your system is trying to prevent psychological shock. It wants identity to remain emotionally familiar, and doubt becomes a way to slow expansion down. The problem is the slowing process became chronic. You are attached to the familiar version of yourself. There is grief underneath this process. Part of you is attached to being the learner, the struggler, the one figuring things out, the uncertain one, the developing version of yourself, and the person not fully there yet. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because the identity became emotionally familiar. It became safe. Fully accepting your current ability means emotionally letting go of an older version of yourself. Some of you may relate to sky burial. Yeah, it's the same thing. If that doesn't resonate, don't worry about it. Part of your resistance comes from not wanting to fully leave that identity behind. This is not only a fear of success, it's also resistance to becoming someone new. Some of you are familiar with the term, your new life will cost you your old life. It's the same thing with the version of you. If you want to become the new version of you, you have to let go of the old version. You can't do both. That's how you split yourself between timelines and other fun shit. So it's a this or that type of thing. I don't know why that is my favorite line from that movie, but if you've seen the movie Sweet Home Alabama, the dad at one point looks at his daughter and says, "Can't ride two horses, one ass, sugar pea." They're saying it's the same thing. You gotta pick one. I love that line. So good. Alrighty. You are more afraid of being defined than failing. You are not primarily afraid of failure. You are afraid of permanence, expectation, responsibility, identity change, visibility, psychological exposure, losing flexibility, and being trapped in one version of yourself. You feel safer in possibility, exploration, becoming, searching, potential, and still figuring it out. But once something becomes official, stable, recognized, consistent, or embodied, you instinctively create distance from it. You keep yourself psychologically reversible. You leave yourself escape routes. Ooh. You leave yourself escape routes. Like, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe this was luck. Maybe this isn't really who I am. And maybe I'm still figuring things out. This protects you from pressure, but it also prevents your growth from stabilizing into identity. You are more comfortable with potential than embodiment. You are very comfortable identifying with future possibility, growth, becoming, potential, and what you could be, but less comfortable identifying with already being capable, already being developed, already being enough now, and already occupying space legitimately. Potential feels emotionally safer because it stays open-ended. It avoids finality. It avoids pressure. It avoids visibility, and it avoids full responsibility. Embodiment feels more vulnerable because now it's real. Now people can see it. Now expectations form. And now identity changes become unavoidable. You unconsciously, meaning you don't necessarily recognize you do this, but you unconsciously stay psychologically positioned in I'm becoming instead of I already am. You turn self-awareness into self-attack. You are highly self-aware, and your self-awareness has become distorted. Instead of helping you stay connected to yourself, it causes over-monitoring, over-correction, emotional interruption, self-consciousness, fragmentation, and chronic evaluation. Some of y'all just don't ever give yourself a break, whether you recognize that or not. You rarely just experience yourself directly. Instead, part of your mind constantly stands outside the experience, evaluating how you sound, how you appear, whether you seem capable, whether you are authentic, whether you deserve your success, whether people will find out something is wrong, whether you're doing enough, and whether you are being too much. I got news for you, babies. If someone tells you they're too much, you look them dead in the fucking eye and you tell them go find less elsewhere. Too much? Get the fuck out of my face with that. Sorry, they've been waking me up at like 5:30 every day, so my tolerance for bullshit, which is normally quite low, is just fucking gone. It don't even register, so bear with me. This creates an internal split. All right, let me reconnect that. I digressed. All right, so you're really judging pretty much everything that you're doing. You're in the experience and you are monitoring, judging, evaluating yourself at the same time. So you're participating and observing. So this creates an internal split. One part of you, oh shit, forgot what I wrote. One part of you is creating, communicating, succeeding, dissolving, or expressing. Another part is watching, judging, controlling, preparing for danger, trying to prevent mistakes, and trying to avoid exposure. That split is exhausting. And I'm hearing exhausting is the only word for it. And interrupts confidence in real time. That split is exhausting and interrupts confidence in real time. And I'm hearing that's not negotiable. Your confidence already exists. You interrupt it. You do experience confidence. You experience it during action and flow, and while creating, communicating naturally, solving problems, and fully engaged. The problem is not, I have no confidence. The problem is you interrupt your confidence with self-monitoring. Things work until you become aware of yourself. Then flow turns into observation. Observation turns into analysis. Analysis turns into doubt, and doubt turns into withdrawal. Your ability is not what needs to change. What needs to change is your habit of psychologically leaving the moment while it is happening. You are trying to preserve emotional control. Part of you believes if you stay uncertain, you stay careful. If you stay self-critical, you stay prepared. If you stay doubtful, you avoid arrogance. If you keep monitoring yourself, you prevent mistakes. And if you never relax fully, you stay safe. Self-doubt became a form of emotional control. You unconsciously believe if I stop monitoring myself, I'll lose control. But your best functioning happens when you are immersed, engaged, connected, and psychologically unguarded, not when you're supervising yourself constantly. You mistake emotional intensity for truth. Your mind gives stronger emotional weight to fear, insecurity, doubt, uncertainty, and self-questioning than it gives to competence, stability, growth, consistency, success, and evidence. So emotionally intense thoughts feel more true. This is why calm competence feels suspicious. Natural confidence feels fake. Stable functioning feels unreal, and uncertainty feels more authentic. Your brain mistakes emotional activation for honesty. But emotional intensity is not proof of truth. I heard say it again. Your brain mistakes emotional activation for honesty, but emotional intensity is not proof of truth. Often it only means this feels psychologically important. Activation is not proof of truth. It's not. It's just a sign of activation. Stop using feelings as proof of reality. One of the biggest distortions in your system is you trust feelings more than evidence. If you feel uncertain, tired, disconnected, doubtful, or inconsistent, you treat those feelings as proof that you're not capable, something is wrong, your success is fake, you are behind, or you're failing. But feelings are temporary states. Feelings change all the time. They're not objective truth. You need to stop asking, what do I feel about myself right now? And start asking, what does reality consistently show? I'm here and we're going to retrain your brain. Reality shows you function well, create value, adapt quickly, impact people, solve problems, continue producing results, and keep growing. Your emotions are reacting to growth, exposure, expansion, and identity change. They're not exposing fraudulence. They're not exposing fraudulence. You have been living in conditional existence. You learned to feel allowed to trust yourself, relax internally, feel legitimate, take up space, and feel confident only under certain conditions. Like if you perform well enough, avoid mistakes, stay productive, maintain consistency, continuously prove yourself, or others validate you. Because of this, legitimacy never feels stable. Why? Because it's outside of you. It's based on external conditions. We need to move it from the external into the internal. Because if you feel legitimate internally, it doesn't matter what the fuck's going on in the external. You're going to be solid like a rock internally. So who cares? All right? Because of this, legitimacy never feels stable. It feels temporary and conditional. This creates constant psychological tension because part of you feels like I must continually earn my right to exist at this level. You need to stop treating your existence and legitimacy as performance-based. Performance is for the external. We're taking that and we're moving it internal. I just keep hearing solid as a rock. Is that a line in a song? Maybe that's solid like a rock. I don't know. All right, back to this. Stop reopening the question of your legitimacy. You keep putting your competence and worth back on trial. Oh, shit. Every success becomes temporary, questioned, emotionally audited, minimized, and disconnected from identity. You behave as if success expires. Confidence must be re-earned daily. Legitimacy is conditional, and competence never fully stabilizes. So nothing integrates internally. You need to stop mentally revoking your own progress. When something works, let it count. Stay true and become a part of you. Let that integration occur internally. Don't immediately reduce it to luck, timing, circumstance, or just a good moment. You keep interrupting identity consolidation. Healthy identity formation works like this. You move from experience to repetition to stabilization to integration to internal recognition. But your process gets interrupted. Every time growth starts integrating, you question it, emotionally detach from it, minimize it, interpret it, and reopen uncertainty. So your brain never fully updates its self-image. It needs more time. This is why you repeatedly feel, I know I've grown, but I still don't fully feel like that person, because the integration process keeps being stopped halfway through. Your identity is operating from old emotional data. Data? Why the fuck did it come out like that? Your identity is operating from old emotional data. Let me get some water. Alrighty. Part of you still emotionally relates to yourself as less capable, less developed, less established, and less legitimate, and earlier in your growth, even though your actual functioning has changed dramatically. Your mind is still referencing old insecurities, limitations, uncertainty, and older self-perceptions. There's a split between current reality and outdated emotional identity. You are functioning from the present while emotionally identifying with the past. A large part of your healing is stop relating to yourself as the person you used to be. I asked if I should soften this, and they said no, so here you go. Your standards are impossible. Impossible. You are not evaluating yourself using human standards. You're not evaluating yourself using human standards. Your internal rules sound like, if I'm truly capable, I should always perform well. If I doubt myself, maybe I'm not actually good. If I struggle, maybe I don't belong. If something feels easy, maybe it doesn't count. And if I'm inconsistent sometimes, maybe I'm a fraud. These standards are unrealistic. Real people have off days, feel uncertain, get tired, struggle emotionally, make mistakes, and grow unevenly. None of that cancels competence. You need to stop comparing yourself to a fictional version of perfection. I'm hearing nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Shit, I show up here imperfectly 3 times a week. And you know what? The sun rises and sets, so does the moon, and life just continues on. Like, it's fine. We just keep working it out and showing up, giving the best that we got under the circumstances. There's nothing wrong with that. Stop equating struggle with legitimacy. You developed the belief if it's real, it should feel difficult. So when ideas come naturally, communication feels easy, insight happens quickly, and creativity flows naturally, you distrust it. You think that was too easy, that doesn't count, or maybe I'm faking this. But ease often means the skill is integrated. You already built the ability, and now it functions naturally. That is not fraudulence. That is development. You do not need suffering to validate your strengths. Say it again. You do not need suffering to validate your strengths. You mistake humility for self-reduction. Part of you believes owning your ability is arrogance. Confidence is dangerous. Certainty is ego. And self-recognition is selfish. Self-minimization became associated with being safe, grounded, acceptable, and morally good. This creates internal conflict because your ability keeps trying to express itself while another part keeps trying to reduce visibility. You got to reconcile these aspects within yourself. You can do that, but these splits are what's keeping you really uncomfortable and staying here. That's just the reality of what's going on. You are trying to stay small enough to feel emotionally safe. You need to learn acknowledging your ability is not arrogance, it's accuracy. Stop dividing yourself into real and performed. You tend to think the confident version of you is performed and the doubtful version is real. So when you communicate well, lead effectively, create strong work, express yourself clearly, and perform at a high level, part of you thinks that can't be the real me. Meanwhile, insecurity, hesitation, confusion, and uncertainty feel more authentic. This is distorted. Functioning well is not fake. Competence is not performance, and your adaptability is not dishonesty. You are not fragmented in this sense, all right? You are multi-dimensional. You got to bring these pieces together and recognize they are all part of you. That's the multidimensionality. But you need to reconcile them internally to really be able to embrace that, see it for what it is, and own that shit. Own it. Stop treating visibility like danger. Part of your system associates visibility with pressure, judgment, criticism, expectation, emotional exposure, and loss of freedom. This means when people recognize your ability, value your work, trust your expertise, or expect more from you, you instinctively reduce yourself. You downplay strengths, soften your impact, avoid fully claiming success, and emotionally detach from achievement. You think this protects you, but it also prevents stability. The solution is allow yourself to remain emotionally present after being seen. Do not retreat internally after visibility. Stay connected to yourself, even if it's just for a short bit longer than you normally would. All right? You use doubt to protect yourself. Your self-doubt serves hidden functions. It helps you avoid pressure, commitment, definition, disappointment, exposure, permanence, and feeling trapped by identity. As long as you remain uncertain, expectations stay flexible. Identity stays reversible. Success never fully defines you, and failure feels less permanent. Doubt becomes protective. This is why certainty feels uncomfortable, but remaining undefined also keeps you disconnected from your own growth. Stop waiting for a feeling that never comes. You are waiting for certainty, complete confidence, emotional readiness, internal permission, and total self-belief before fully claiming your ability, but that feeling does not come first. Confidence develops through repetition, embodiment, action, visibility, sustained participation, and remaining present during success. You build self-trust by acting while uncertainty exists, not by eliminating uncertainty first. Stop trying to solve this only through thinking. You already understand yourself deeply. Insight is no longer the missing piece. The problem is behavioral. You understand the pattern intellectually, but you still enact it emotionally in real time. The real shift happens when you stay visible, keep creating, continue despite doubt, allow yourself to be seen, stop minimizing yourself, and remain emotionally present during growth. You heal this by practicing a different response, not by endlessly analyzing the old one. Build stability instead of intensity. You are used to reassessing yourself, analyzing your identity, searching for certainty, and trying to figure yourself out. This creates attachment to being in progress. So when growth stabilizes, it feels unfamiliar. You expect identity to feel dramatic, permanent, and emotionally overwhelming, but real identity shifts are quieter than that. Excuse me, confirmation burp. And actually, I can attest to that as well. My identity shifts have never been loud and in my face. I just feel differently. Usually they feel like continuing what you are already doing without pulling away from it. Identity changes through repetition, continuity, and sustained embodiment, not emotional revelation. I'm not gonna lie, ever since I was guided to work on my fear of being seen, these videos are not nearly as hard for me as they used to be. It took me very little time to start this video, and granted, I'm mostly reading this because I'm trying to not make this video super long, but I'm just saying I'm not doing anything different than I was before, but I just feel different. I know I'm showing up differently. I know that change is taking place. And yeah, I am kicking the fear of being seen's ass. So I'm just saying, it's not always dramatic. It's just taking less time to getting started and just hitting my flow and going. So I don't know, maybe that helps somebody, but at some point you just start working through it. And that's just something I just kind of recognized as I was making this video. Wasn't some grand like eye-opening moment. It's just a shift, just something I can't deny. So just because it's a quiet change does not mean it isn't significant in some way, shape, or form. Alrighty, let's get back to it. What needs to be done practically? When things are working, stop evaluating yourself. Stop checking if it's real. Stop asking if you deserve it. Stop monitoring how you appear. And stop emotionally stepping outside the moment. Stay engaged. When doubt appears, do not treat it as proof that something is wrong. Treat it as discomfort from growth, nervous system activation, fear of visibility, fear of identity expansion, and fear of exposure. It's not evidence of fraudulence. Imposter syndrome is a liar, and a bad one at that. When success happens, let it count. Acknowledge it. I'm hearing claim that shit. Remember it. Integrate it, and stop minimizing it. Even a small win compounds. You get a bunch of small wins back to back to back to back. That ripple effect is often bigger than just one big bang. Big bangs don't happen all that often. Small continuous wins. It's like compound interest. Do not emotionally erase your own evidence. When visibility increases, do not shrink. Do not detach. Do not downplay yourself or retreat psychologically afterward. Practice staying present while being seen. When things feel easy, stop dismissing them. Ease can mean integration, development, mastery, and familiarity with the skill. Natural ability is still real ability. When you feel uncertain, continue anyway. You do not need certainty before action. You need willingness to remain present while uncertainty exists. Replace your internal role. Stop being the examiner, critic, evaluator, observer, and prosecutor. Become the supporter, stabilizer, encourager, witness, and ally to yourself. You do not need more internal pressure. You need internal permission. The real shift is not becoming more talented or perfect, becoming fearless, or eliminating doubt. The real shift is stop abandoning yourself when things become real. That is the entire pattern of imposter syndrome. That's the whole thing. You already have ability, create impact, and function at a high level, and you produce meaningful work. But you disconnect from yourself right when success stabilizes, visibility increases, identity expands, and things start feeling real. The work now is simple, even if emotionally uncomfortable. Stay. Stay in the moment. Success, visibility, identity, experience, and growth without shrinking, overanalyzing yourself, emotionally revoking progress, questioning your legitimacy in real time, and retreating into old versions of yourself. The final truth: nothing essential is missing. You are not waiting to become capable. You already are. You are waiting to emotionally accept and remain connected to the capability that already exists. Your ability is already functioning. Your task now is to stop interrupting your own reality long enough for your identity to catch up to it. Most importantly, stop trying to psychologically live inside a version of yourself you have already outgrown. Say it again. Stop trying to psychologically live inside a version of yourself you have already outgrown. Let it go, babies. It served its purpose. It has outstayed It has outstayed its usefulness and its purpose. Release it. Bury it. I'm here and you're safe to do so. It's your choice. All right, that is all that I'm getting. So I'm going to leave that there. And as I mentioned before, I'll go back and update all the links in the series for this week because this is part 3. We're closing it out. If you did not see my post, the next video, well, the next series is going to be focusing on energetic entanglement with others. Some of you may know that as enmeshment. I talked about it in a previous video like a month ago, I think. So we'll be going back and looking at that. So feel free to tune in to that if that resonates. If not, leave it. It's totally fine. Either way, take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. Until next time, bye.